Heartwarming moment, little girl's unexpected question to CEO reveals life-changing truth exposed. The packed banquet hall hummed with excitement, a sea of tailored suits and polished shoes, all eyes trained on the stage where CEO Michael Roberts stood with confidence. He beamed at the crowd, preaching the virtues of entrepreneurship and the relentless pursuit of the American dream. His words echoed through the room, but among the throng, a small figure stood out. 8-year-old Lily, her bright eyes wide with wonder, listened intently, absorbing every lesson on ambition as if they were gifts from the heavens above. Behind the facade of luxury lay a different reality. In a bustling Chicago suburb, Sarah, a single mother, fought bravely to keep her bakery afloat amidst economic struggles that threatened to plunge it into darkness. The bakery was more than a business, it was a sanctuary for her and a haven for local veterans seeking purpose through job training. As Sarah kneaded dough for another batch of her famous cinnamon rolls, the thought of foreclosure nagged at her heart, tightening like a vice. She had built more than just a shop, she built dreams, hope, and community. As the crowd clamored to shake hands with Michael, a wave of energy surged around him. The lavish glitz of the event buzzed with applause and laughter, yet it all faded as Lily, undeterred by the chaos, weaved her way through the crowd. At last, she reached Michael's side, standing there with hands on her hips. What's more important, making money or making a difference? Her voice rang clear and innocent, cutting through the crowd like a flint against steel. Michael blinked, momentarily struck dumb. The glimmer of status flashed before him, but then, Lily's question settled into his mind, poking holes in his carefully crafted armor. Memories of his childhood flooded back, of laughter, of values, of caring for his community before ambition blurred those lines. For the first time, he stared into the mirror of an 8-year-old's sincerity, and it unsettled him. Back at home, Sarah wiped her brow and looked at her loving daughter, who still seemed aglow from the event. The bakery loomed overhead, a burden of worry. Sarah hated the thought of losing it, of snuffing out the light it brought to so many, including Lily. She needed to find a way to save it, for every loaf of bread brought joy, and every slice of pie reminded them both of their fight. As Michael struggled with the implications of Lily's question, he found himself wandering toward Sarah's bakery the following day. The smell of fresh bread enveloped him as he stepped inside, filled with the warmth of community, the laughter of children, the clanking of plates, veterans sharing their stories. Each face reflected hope and gratitude. It was nothing like he had ever realized in his boardroom meetings. For the first time, he felt the weight of his decisions clash with the meaning of success. The memory of Lily's eyes, shining with innocence, haunted him. He could envision a brighter future, one built on impact rather than profit. But then reality struck. He had a deal waiting, a choice he could either cling to or let go of. His heart raced, the crossroads stood before him. What would it really mean to choose to save Sarah's bakery? He turned towards the door, turmoil gripping him. Looking back, he caught sight of Lily, and at that moment, it became clear, he held the power to make a difference. And in that unbearable tension, the question lingered, money or impact? As his resolve began to shift, Michael felt the weight of an uncertain future hang over him, the door to possibility gently creaking open, begging for the next chapter to unfold. The day after his visit to the bakery, Michael's mind swirled with possibilities. He wandered through his sprawling office, walls adorned with accolades and awards that now felt hollow. The phone buzzed on his desk, but he ignored it. Instead, he gazed out the window at the bustling city below, people rushing about in suits, each consumed by their own pursuits of success. A soft knock interrupted his thoughts. It was Emma, his assistant. "Michael, you have a meeting in 10 minutes with the board. They've been waiting for your input on the expansion plan." Her voice was calm, but he could see the concern in her eyes. "I'll be right there," he replied, forcing a smile. But he couldn't shake the feeling of unease. This meeting was about profits, strategies, and growing the company's bottom line. But what did any of it matter if it meant glossing over the real stories behind the numbers? Before heading to the meeting, he made a decision. He would speak up. The voice of an 8-year-old girl echoed in his mind, stirring something deep within him, a longing to reclaim the purpose that had faded in his climb up the corporate ladder. Meanwhile, Sarah stood at the counter of her bakery, flour dusting her apron as she served a customer. A veteran in a faded cap smiled as he took a bite of a cinnamon roll. It was moments like these that fueled her spirit. But today, she felt the weight of looming uncertainty. The foreclosure notice from the bank still sat on her kitchen table, a reminder of the risks she faced daily. As she took a deep breath, she glanced around the bakery. The locals, it was their laughter, their conversations, and their stories that made it home. Sarah wished she could find a way to share this with someone who could help. She couldn't just close the doors and say goodbye to the place that felt like a lifeline for so many. Back in the boardroom, Michael attempted to shake off the heavy feeling. As he listened to the stock market figures discussed with monotony, he raised his hand, interrupting the flow. "Can we take a moment to consider the impact of our choices?" He started, his voice steady but full of emotion. The room went silent, all heads turned towards him. "What do you mean, Michael?" asked Tom, the CFO, with a raised eyebrow. "I mean, we're talking about expansion, but what if we could do more? What if we invested in places like Sarah's Bakery? Not only to lift ourselves but to uplift others. We could create real change." The board members exchanged doubtful glances, whispering among themselves. Michael's heart raced. He felt exposed yet liberated. The memories of that day, and the little girl who sparked his thoughts, flashed before him like a guiding star. Meanwhile, unbeknownst to Sarah, news of the CEO's unexpected proposal began to ripple across the city. A spark flickered. Hope. Could an opportunity be on the horizon? Back in the bakery, a stranger stepped through the door, a tall man with a familiar demeanor. Michael, filled with determination, had chosen to find Sarah. Would their meeting ignite a partnership that could save her bakery? As Sarah wiped her hands on her apron, she caught sight of him and her heart stopped. Had he come to offer help or something more? The tension in the air crackled, brimming with anticipation. Would this be the moment that transformed everything? What choice would she make if the answer lay just before her? Sarah felt her breath hitch as Michael walked toward her. The weight of her worries pressed heavily on her chest, and the sight of him was both electrifying and terrifying. She noticed his eyes scanning the bakery, taking in the vibrant atmosphere that was her heart and soul. "Hi," he said, his voice warm but serious. "Can we talk?" Her stomach fluttered, a mix of hope and apprehension. Sure," Sarah replied, backpedaling instinctively towards the counter. As if by habit, she wiped her hands on her apron, searching for clarity. What did he want? Was this about her bakery? Michael glanced around, seeing the laughter and chatter that brought life to this little corner of the city. He took a seat at one of the tables, and Sarah joined him, both aware of the gravity of the moment. Here they were, CEO and baker, two worlds colliding. "I heard about your bakery," he began, his voice steady. "I want to help." Sarah blinked, disbelief crashing over her like a wave. "Help? With what? I can't imagine how you would." She let her words trail off, clinging to a sense of skepticism. People rarely came in to help, they were usually just there to take, to consume. "I've just come from a meeting about the company's expansion plans." His gaze was earnest. "But I can't stop thinking about you and your bakery. You're a pillar in this community." A knot formed in her throat. "I'm just a small business. I don't know if I mean much in the grand scheme of things." Those precious words hung in the air. Michael leaned forward. "That's where you're wrong. Small businesses like yours are the heartbeat of a community. I want to propose something, a partnership, perhaps. We could invest, expand your space, maybe even introduce your baked goods in our market." Sarah's heart raced. Dreaming of a partnership seemed so far-fetched yet thrilling. Her tears threatened to spill as she tried to process his words. "But what about your shareholders? They don't care about a bakery. They want profits." That's the point. Michael's voice cracked slightly. I'm done chasing profits at the expense of what truly matters, people. Stories. Flourishing dreams. I think we can show them what real impact looks like. You could be the first step in redefining what our company stands for. Silence enveloped them as Sarah slowly absorbed his proposal. Could this be real? Was he genuinely interested in her passion project? But doubts clouded her mind. But if it fails, it'll fall back on you. What if I can't keep up? Michael smiled, a soothing presence that calmed her racing heart. You won't be alone, Sarah. We'll do this together. I believe in you, in your vision. It's not just about flour and sugar, it's about connection. For a moment, the world around them faded. The smell of cinnamon and coffee mingled with hope hanging in the air like the sweetest aroma. Will you think about it? Michael asked softly, his sincerity piercing her defenses. A million thoughts tumbled through Sarah's mind, each battling for her attention. But she felt a flicker of hope ignite. Was this the lifeline she had been searching for? Meanwhile, miles away, the city buzzed with anticipation, unaware of the pivotal turn life was about to take for both of them. Sarah searched Michael's eyes, the weight of the world still pressing down on her. Could a partnership truly change her fate? As she opened her mouth to respond, the weight of her uncertain future loomed large. But she could feel those walls beginning to crack. What would she decide? Would she dare to take a chance on more than just baked goods? Sarah inhaled deeply, feeling the weight of the decision pressing against her chest. Michael sat there, eyes fixed on her, an unwavering belief radiating from him like warm sunlight breaking through clouds. She could see excitement bubbling in him, the same excitement she felt when fresh dough first hit her hands early in the morning. Okay, she whispered. I'll think about it. But it's a big leap, Michael. What if I fail? What if this changes everything and it all goes south? His eyes sparkled with determination. You'll be fine, I promise. You just need the chance to show the world your passion. There was a kind of magic in his voice, and for a fleeting moment, she felt the world shift beneath their feet. Perhaps she could trust him. Maybe he was right. But as the reality of the situation settled in, more questions bubbled up. What about the people who come into my bakery? They walk in for comfort, for connection. It's about more than just bread and pastries. What if they don't think I'm still me? What if they think I've sold out? Michael reached for her hand, his touch gentle yet grounding. Sarah, your customers love your bakery because of what you put into it. That one change. You'll be the soul of this partnership, guiding it with your vision. You won't lose yourself in the process. He spoke with certainty, and she clung to that, wanting desperately to believe him. A moment passed as they held each other's gaze, both feeling the pull of something much larger than themselves. The door to the bakery jingled, breaking the spell. A little girl with pigtails and bright, curious eyes peeked in, her mom hovering behind her. Mom, look! It's the bakery lady! She exclaimed. With a skip, she dashed inside, her shoes clicking against the wooden floor. Sarah's heart melted. She recognized this little girl from the neighborhood. Hi there. Sarah greeted, feeling her joy surge. What can I get for you today? The girl tilted her head, her expression serious. Are you going to get a bigger bakery? I heard Mr. Michael wants to help you. Laughter bubbled forth uncontrollably from Sarah. It was a blend of surprise and delight. Is that so? Do you think I should? The girl nodded enthusiastically. Yes. Then you can make even more yummy things. I love your cupcakes. Michael chuckled softly, the tension easing around them. See, Sarah. Even the kids understand. You're already making an impact. Suddenly, tears of laughter sprang to Sarah's eyes. She could picture how their faces would light up, how the bakery could be more than it currently was, a place bursting with life and love, where dreams could be baked right along with the bread. But with each blip of enthusiasm, doubt sneaked back in. What if I can't keep up with it all? What if I ruin it? Then we'll figure it out, Michael assured with unwavering conviction. We learn together. You're not alone in this. The little girl, satisfied by their exchange, pulled out a few coins and pointed toward the glass display. Can I get a cupcake, please? As Sarah turned to fill the order, she felt Michael's hand squeeze hers gently. This is your moment, Sarah. Open your heart to the idea. With the child beaming at her, Sarah scooped up a cupcake, the sweet frosting gleaming like hope itself. As she handed it over, she couldn't help but feel it a push from deep inside, urging her toward a decision she never thought she'd contemplate. Could she really take this step? Could this partnership lead her toward a dream beyond her wildest imagination? The little girl's delighted squeal echoed in her ears, and Sarah found herself wrestling with the growing sensation of wanting to really let go and embrace what could be. But first, she had to face a bigger question: was she brave enough to chase this dream and reshape her future? With a determined glance toward Michael, she took a breath, ready to unveil the truth. Sarah felt a flutter in her stomach as she turned back to Michael. His gaze was unwavering, filled with a partner's warmth and a believer's passion. The noise of the bustling bakery around them seemed to fade, replaced by a hush that held her breath. Could she do it? What if I really went for it? She asked softly, her voice shaking slightly. What if I could make something bigger, something I've always dreamed of? A smile crept across Michael's face. Then you'll step into a world that's waiting for you. Let your creativity spill out like batter into a pan. This is just the beginning. His enthusiasm was infectious, igniting a spark deep within her. For a moment, Sarah envisioned tables filled with gleaming pastries, fresh loaves just out of the oven, and the laughter of families coming together over her treats. The thought was dizzying, filled with a mixture of fear and hope. The little girl, cupcake in hand, peered up at them, her curious eyes sparkling. Will you have more flavors? She asked earnestly. Maybe green ones, like green cupcakes. Why not? Sarah chuckled, energy surging. I could make a mint chocolate chip cupcake just for you. Yay! The girls squealed, jumping with delight. The laughter in the bakery now felt like a symphony, and Sarah realized how much she missed this feeling, the vibrant pulse of life revolving around her creations. But then, doubt crept back in. If I stumble, if it fails, the words hung in the air like dark clouds. Michael leaned in closer. You have everything it takes to soar, Sarah. Your heart, your spirit, they're what draw people here. A bigger bakery doesn't change that. As he said it, her heart soared. She could already envision the kitchen, bustling with activity, flour clouds swirling in delight. Memories of long nights testing recipes rushed back, her hands covered in sticky dough, laughter echoing as she poured their dreams into each creation. Taking a deep breath, Sarah reached for Michael's hand. I want to do it. I want to try. Great. He beamed, his excitement contagious. But let us do it right. We'll plan, we'll strategize. Together. The weight of her apprehensions lightened a little, the warmth of hope overshadowing the cooler shadows of self-doubt. Together, she repeated. The word felt solid, a foundation for whatever lay ahead. As they found their groove, brainstorming ideas and flavors, customers filtered into the bakery. Each one greeted with a smile, each transaction a shared moment. The community was alive around them, and Sarah found herself humming with the rhythm of it all. But as dinner approached, a thought grabbed her. What would her regulars think of a bigger venture? The customers she cherished, the ones who chose her bakery as their safe haven. What if they didn't accept the change? Michael, she finally voiced, what if my loyal customers feel abandoned? What if they don't embrace the new direction? He looked deep into her eyes, as if searching for answers in her very soul. Then you show them. You invite them into the journey. You're not just expanding a business, you're expanding a home. As those words floated in the air, Sarah's heart raced. Could she really open the door wider and let them in? The thought hung there, buzzing in her mind, exciting and terrifying all at once. What if I host a tasting event? Involve them in the process? She suggested, a spark of inspiration igniting. Let them see the new flavors before we launch. Michael smiled, eyes twinkling. That's the spirit. A way to celebrate both the past and future. Something inside Sarah shifted, an elegant dance between fear and excitement. It felt right to bring her community along. As the last customer left, the lights flickering softly, Sarah turned to Michael, filled with resolve. It's time for the next step, but I need to share it with them. I want them to be part of this. I'm with you all the way, he affirmed, squeezing her hand in solidarity. Murmuring return to the shop, the comforting warmth of hopes rekindled and dreams being shaped. She knew this journey would come with challenges, but standing at this new precipice, the sheer possibility thrilled her. But then again a nagging little corner of her mind whispered a question that wouldn't silence easily. Would the gamble of her heart pay off? As she locked the door behind them, she felt the thrill of tomorrow beckoning, the real question lingering just out of reach. Could she really turn this dream into reality, or was she risking everything for a fleeting idea? The next morning arrived with a burst of sunlight streaming through Sarah's kitchen window. She stood at her mixing station, the familiar sense of flour and sugar embracing her, and the sound of the mixer humming softly filled the space. The buzzing from the bakery below was a comforting backdrop. Today felt different, charged with potential. Yet that whisper in her mind had grown louder. What if everything goes wrong? She thought as her hands turned mere ingredients into something beautiful. But as she poured the batter into the cupcake liners, that doubt began to dissipate, replaced by the excitement of possibility. Michael arrived a little after 10, his backpack slung over one shoulder and a coffee in hand. Morning. He called out, his eyes bright with motivation. You ready to dive into this tasting event? Absolutely, Sarah replied, giving him a genuine smile. The enthusiasm he brought to the morning felt like wind in her sails, pushing her out into uncharted waters. Together, they began to design the tasting event, picking flavors that celebrated the heart of her bakery. They settled on a mint chocolate chip cupcake for the little girl, alongside a nostalgic red velvet and a daring lavender lemon. Each flavor was a nod to her past and a bridge into her future. As the day wore on, Sarah found herself surrounded by trays of colorful cupcakes, her heart lighter with every creation. The thought of sharing this with her loyal customers had sparked a warmth inside her, made her realize how connected she felt to this community. Sarah, Michael said as he tasted the lavender lemon. This is fantastic. I can feel the love in every bite. They're going to go nuts for these. He was right. And as thoughts of her customers danced in her mind, she couldn't help but picture their faces lighting up with every bite of her new creations. That evening, her regulars began filtering back into the bakery. She welcomed them warmly, sharing the news of her tasting event like it was a secret surprise. Their reactions were better than she could have anticipated: excitement, curiosity, and even a few claps from her most enthusiastic fans. The sense of belonging wrapped around her like a warm blanket. Then, just as Sarah began to feel untouchable in her rising confidence, she noticed a familiar face standing by the counter. It was Mrs. Thompson, a devoted patron who had come every Friday since the first day the bakery opened. Her kind eyes held an analytical look, a questioning gaze that made Sarah's heart thud in her chest. Sarah, she spoke gently, her voice steady. I see the changes. I even taste the ambition. But tell me, what if this loses the soul of what you've built? Your bakery has always felt like home. Her words landed heavily between them. Sarah's heart sank a little. Could she really balance growth with the essence of what made her bakery a haven? Mrs. Thompson, Sarah took a deep breath, eager to reassure. This is about bringing more of our community into it. I want to keep the heart of this place while also giving it space to grow. You've always been a part of this. Mrs. Thompson smiled softly, but Sarah felt the weight of the room shift. The tension of her question lingered, a reminder that change is never easy. Just remember, sweetness doesn't just come from sugar, Mrs. Thompson whispered, her voice filled with warmth and concern. It comes from the heart. As the evening wore on, Sarah found herself contemplating that one voice amidst the laughter and joy around her. Would she be able to weave her future with the threads of her past? Leaving that night, the bakery was aglow with string lights that twinkled like stars. It felt like magic, but now Sarah felt something tugging at her heart, an inner conflict that loomed large. The tasting event was just days away, but those words echoed in her mind. Would she manage to honor the soul of her shop while stepping boldly into her dreams? And in that moment, Sarah realized she wasn't just preparing her bakery for growth. She was about to confront the essence of who she was and what her art really meant. As she locked up for the night, a question surfaced, one that tinged her thoughts with both fear and longing. How could she preserve the roots that held her bakery strong while branching out into something new? The darkness of night settled in, but her thoughts continued to tumble around her like flour in a bowl, blending and mixing, waiting for the perfect moment to rise. Tomorrow would be a turning point, but would she be ready to embrace both the past and the future? The following morning dawned quietly, the sunlight casting soft shadows across the tables in the bakery. Sarah stood at her station once more, but today the atmosphere felt heavier, laced with her thoughts from the night before. She ran her fingers through the flour, uncertain if she could create something truly special. Michael arrived as usual, a fresh brew of coffee in hand. "You look pensive," he said, raising an eyebrow. "Everything all right?" Just thinking about the tasting event and Mrs. Thompson's words, Sarah admitted, pulling her apron tighter around her waist. Michael nodded, pouring a cup of coffee. "It's normal to have doubts, especially when you're pushing yourself. But remember why you started this in the first place." His words lingered, and she nodded, feeling the warmth of support. They began to set up for the tasting, the kitchen bustling with the sounds of mixers and the sweet clinks of spatulas against bowls. The air filled with the alluring scent of baking, the comforting perfume of cupcakes destined for eager hands. As the clock edged closer to noon, Sarah felt her excitement begin to build again. She decorated each cupcake meticulously, wishing to pour her heart into every swirl of frosting. She paused occasionally to glance out the display window, watching the neighborhood go about their daily life. Familiar faces passed by, a jogger, a mother with 2 toddlers, an elderly couple laughing together. Each person connected to something bigger, a community that breathed life into her bakery. As customers began to arrive, her heart raced. The atmosphere buzzed with energy. A little girl, around 6 years old with bright pigtails, tugged on her mother's sleeve, eyes wide with wonder as she spotted the colorful cupcakes on display. "Mom! Can we taste those? They look like fairy treasures," she exclaimed, her eyes sparkling. Sarah couldn't help but smile. That innocent enthusiasm tugged at something deep inside her. She approached, kneeling down so they were eye to eye. "Would you like to help me with the tasting?" The girl nodded eagerly. "Well, we have mint chocolate chip, red velvet, and lavender lemon. Which one should we try first?" "Mint. Please, please." With that, Sarah carefully handed one to the little girl, who bit in with delighted abandon. A smile broke out across her face as frosting smeared on her nose. "This is the best cupcake ever," the girl declared, leaps of joy in her expressions, as her mother chuckled beside her. Parents and friends gathered around, laughter and chatter filling the room as cupcakes vanished faster than Sarah could have imagined. The flavors spoke for themselves, weaving a tale of warmth and community that re-energized Sarah's spirit. But as she served, she caught glimpses of Mrs. Thompson's shadow lingering by the window. The familiar face now held a contemplative expression. That unease returned, the memory of their last conversation echoing in Sarah's mind. Stirring apprehension mixed with the joy of the event, she approached the table where Mrs. Thompson sat, a cupcake balanced in her hands. What do you think? Sarah asked, trying to gauge her thoughts. With a thoughtful expression, Mrs. Thompson took a bite, chewing slowly. An expression of nostalgia crossed her face. You've kept the heart, Sarah. These flavors remind me of the first day I walked in here. It feels good, genuinely good. Sarah felt a wave of relief washing over her. I want to keep it that way. Just remember, Mrs. Thompson replied, her voice steady, the world will always need places like this. It's good to grow, but it's also important to remain rooted. As the day unfolded, each bite of cupcake was a celebration of what had come before and what was yet to come. But the tug of Mrs. Thompson's words remained at the back of her mind. Would she ever truly find the balance between her dreams and her roots? As the tasting event wrapped up, with customers raving and sharing stories, Sarah felt a sense of fulfillment wash over her. Yet she understood this was just the beginning. The journey was still ahead, with obstacles waiting to be confronted. And in that pivotal moment, a realization struck her: this bakery was not just a place for selling sweets. It was a canvas, an opportunity to paint a future that honored the past while reaching for new horizons. As the last customers left, Sarah gathered the remaining cupcakes, her mind racing with possibilities. Could she truly be the heart of this bakery, nurturing it while also letting it grow? Tomorrow would hold new challenges, but what would those look like? Would she be brave enough to embrace the evolution of her dreams? The next morning brought with it a renewed sense of purpose. Sunlight filtered through the bakery's windows, illuminating the flour-dusted countertops and the array of baking tools waiting to fulfill their destiny. Sarah took a deep breath, inhaling the comforting scent of yesterday's thrill still lingering in the air. She'd experienced something special during the tasting event, and that spark ignited a fire within her. Michael breezed in, his usual buoyant energy lighting up the space. Ready for round two? He asked, his voice a mix of excitement and encouragement. Her heart raced with possibility as she nodded. Absolutely. I think I want to try something new. Like what? He inquired, leaning over the counter, curious. I'm thinking about developing a new cupcake flavor, she confided, her fingers tapping rhythmically against the flour canister. Something that represents not just the bakery but also the community. Michael raised an eyebrow. You mean like a signature cupcake? Exactly. I wanted to tell a story, something that holds a piece of this neighborhood, she explained, her voice gaining strength. That was when the bakery door swung open, and a rush of customers poured in, eager to taste the familiar delights that were about to become even more extraordinary. Sarah welcomed them with a smile, their enthusiasm mirroring her own. Throughout the busy morning, as she served cupcake after cupcake, an idea began to take shape. Inspired by the laughter of children and the satisfied smiles of customers, she envisioned a community cupcake, a blend of flavors that reflected everyone's favorites. Mint, lemon, and maybe a bit of chocolate, a harmonious mix just like the people who filled her shop. Michael. She called out during a brief lull, her excitement bubbling over. What do you think about community cupcake? Each week we could feature a different flavor that represents someone from the neighborhood. His eyes lit up as he turned to her. That sounds fantastic. You could even get people involved, have them vote or suggest flavors. As they discussed this idea further, a wave of determination washed over Sarah. This was more than just baking, it was about connection and unity. Every sprinkle of sugar, every swirl of frosting would weave a wider tapestry of the community, a tribute to the hearts that filled the space with warmth. Just as they settled on a plan, the little girl from the tasting event rushed in, her pigtails bouncing. Miss Sarah! Miss Sarah! She squealed, beaming up at her. Hi there. Sarah knelt to greet her. Did you come for more cupcakes? The girl shook her head vigorously. No. I came to ask, can I help with the new cupcake? Can I give you my idea? What a wonderful idea! Sarah said, her heart swelling at the girl's enthusiasm. Tell me everything. Without hesitation, the little girl shared her thoughts, her words spilling out like the vivid colors of the many cupcakes on display. How about a rainbow cupcake? With all the colors. Everyone can be happy when they see it. Sarah smiled, a warmth enveloping her at the simplicity and joy in the child's suggestion. That's a beautiful idea. A cupcake that celebrates everyone. Would you like to help me make it? The girl's eyes sparkled with delight. Really? I can. Of course. You'll be my special assistant today, Sarah replied, already imagining the fun they would have mixing colors, experimenting with flavors, and perhaps creating something spectacular together. As they prepared to get started, Sarah felt a refreshing surge of clarity. Mrs. Thompson's voice echoed in her ears, rooted yet growing. The courage she found in that little girl's request illuminated a path ahead. It was time to transform the bakery into a gathering spot for everyone. As they began mixing the ingredients, a thought struck Sarah: this was the magic of the bakery. It transformed every customer's visit into something memorable. What flavors of the past and present would tie them all together? And would they be able to create a cupcake that would truly represent the spirit of their community? With hope filling her heart, Sarah smiled. Tomorrow was sure to bring new challenges, but she found comfort in knowing they could be faced together. Could this little project spark an even greater change in not only her bakery but in the hearts of the people she cherished? The warm afternoon sun streamed into the bakery, casting a golden glow over everything. Sarah felt a flutter of excitement as she and her new little assistant, Ellie, prepared for their cupcake adventure. Their workspace was a kaleidoscope of colors, vibrant sprinkles, rich cocoa powder, and creamy frosting. Okay, Ellie, let's start with the cake base, Sarah said, pulling out the mixing bowl. The little girl bounced on her toes, her enthusiasm infectious. She watched, wide-eyed, as Sarah poured flour and sugar into the bowl, each ingredient a step closer to magic. What's next? Ellie asked, her voice filled with anticipation. Next is the eggs and butter. We want it to be nice and fluffy, Sarah replied, cracking the eggs open with a practiced hand. As she worked, she thought about how this simple job connected them. Baking was an art, a language of its own, a way to express love, joy, and community. While mixing the batter, Sarah spotted a few regular customers peering in through the front window. Their familiar faces brought a rush of warmth. She waved cheerfully, feeling the pull of her neighborhood more strongly than ever. They weren't just customers, they were part of a shared story, a story she wanted to capture in every cupcake. Miss Sarah, can we add colors now? Ellie interrupted her thoughts, eyes glittering with excitement. Absolutely. Let's create a rainbow, Sarah said, grabbing bottles of food coloring. With careful hands, they mixed the colors into tiny bowls of batter, watching as each bowl transformed into a different shade. It felt like painting a masterpiece. As they swirled the colors together in the cake pan, Ellie giggled. Look at it. It's so pretty. Just like you. Sarah smiled, her heart full. The innocence in Ellie's joy reminded her of the simple pleasures, the little moments that often passed by unnoticed in adulthood. Do you think everyone in the neighborhood will like it? Ellie asked, her expression suddenly serious. Sarah paused, looking thoughtfully at the colorful batter. I hope so. But more importantly, I want everyone to feel included. This cupcake is a celebration of us all, she said, choosing her words carefully. It felt important to share this vision with Ellie. Can I help you tell them about it? Ellie ventured, her small hands resting on the edge of the counter. Of course. We can invite people to share their favorite flavors and stories. You can help me decorate too. Sarah exclaimed, her excitement bubbling over at the thought of engaging the community. After placing the cupcakes in the oven, they cleaned up their mess, chatting and laughing all the while. Sarah felt a surge of hope. They were creating not just dessert but a way to connect everyone in a meaningful way. As they waited for the cupcakes to bake, Sarah couldn't help but wonder. What if this little project grew bigger than she imagined? What if the community cupcake turned into a festival? The timer chimed, snapping her back. The smell of warm cake filled the air. She opened the oven door, letting a cloud of sweet aroma waft into the bakery. Ellie squealed with delight as they pulled out the trays. The cupcakes, puffy, colorful, and whimsical, looked perfect. "They're so beautiful, Miss Sarah. Just like a rainbow," she exclaimed. "I think we did something special today," Sarah said, her heart swelling with pride. Suddenly, the door opened, and some neighborhood kids rushed in, drawn by the sweet scent that beckoned them. They stopped in their tracks, wide-eyed at the colorful display. "Hello. Would you like to try these?" Sarah called out, waving them over. Their faces lit up with excitement. "What are they?" "These are our community cupcakes. Want to help us decide on the flavors for next week?" Sarah asked, watching their eyes widen in surprise. As the laughter and chatter filled the bakery, Sarah felt a spark of something she hadn't anticipated. Connections were blooming right before her eyes, and the realization struck her like a bolt of lightning: this was just the beginning. Could this simple cupcake idea pave the way for lasting change in their community? Would everyone really come together to share their stories? She felt a rush of anticipation. This journey was just about to unfold. The day of the launch for the Community Cupcake Festival arrived, and Sarah's bakery buzzed with energy. Colorful banners danced in the warm breeze outside, marking the entrance like an invitation to a celebration of togetherness. The aroma of baked goods wafted through the air, sweet and inviting, capturing hearts and tickling taste buds. Sarah stood behind the counter, her heart racing with excitement and nervousness. The little girl Ellie clutched her hand, her pigtails bobbing as she dashed around, mingling with the crowd. Everyone from the neighborhood, familiar faces and new friends, gathered in lively anticipation. Friends and families entered, laughter erupting like the fizz of soda, all there to share their favorite flavors and experiences. "Ready for this?" Michael appeared beside Sarah, his face lit up with encouragement. He'd been by her side every step of the way, and today felt monumental. "As ready as I'll ever be," she replied, heart swelling. "I want everyone to feel special today, like they're part of something bigger." Michael grinned. "They will be. Let us make it a day they won't forget." The first wave of people stepped forward. Sarah, at the helm, called out, "Welcome to the Community Cupcake Festival. We invite each of you to suggest a flavor that reflects your story." The excitement in the air was palpable. Children's voices mixed with the chatter of mothers and fathers, and each suggestion felt like a sprinkle of magic. As the day unfolded, the bakery transformed into a canvas of creativity. Families engaged in discussions about flavors that held meaning for them: spicy jalapeno chocolate, tropical mango coconut, and even a comforting apple pie cupcake. These stories intertwined, creating a vibrant tapestry that represented hopes, dreams, and memories through the art of baking. With Ellie by her side, Sarah encouraged customers to help mix and decorate their creations. Laughter erupted with every plop of frosting and sprinkle shower. It felt joyous. The scene was nothing short of a celebration. Old connections were rekindled, and new ones formed over shared experiences. In the corner, Mrs. Thompson watched with a warm smile. She had been skeptical at first, but now she beamed at the transformation taking place. "Sarah, I'm so proud of you," she said softly when they crossed paths. "You've nurtured the heart of this place while creating something beautiful." "Thank you," Sarah replied, her eyes filled with gratitude. That morning, a sense of reassurance washed over her. She realized the heart of her bakery was not only found in its walls but in the bonds created within them. As the sun dipped low in the sky, Sarah stood back, taking it all in: the beautiful chaos, the laughter, the joyous chatter. The festival was a resounding success, and within her, a profound sense of belonging flourished. "Sarah! Come look!" Ellie tugged at her, excitement bubbling. At a decorated table, the kids had cast their votes for the community cupcake's flavor. Sweet laughter and squeals filled the room as they discussed the winner, a combination that encompassed all their favorite tastes. As the final cupcake flavor was chosen, Sarah felt a warm glow. This wasn't just about expanding her bakery anymore, it was about creating a home, a safe space where everyone was welcome, where every voice mattered. The event wrapped up, one by one, families thanked her, their faces radiating joy. "You've made our neighborhood feel like a family, Sarah," one parent said, a soft sincerity underlying their words. This was the best day. Tears brimmed in Sarah's eyes, but they were tears of joy. She hugged Ellie tightly, feeling the little girl's joy resonate within her. "We did this together," she said, beaming. "Can we do it again next week?" Ellie asked, eyes sparkling with the heat of possibility. "Of course. This is just the start," Sarah replied, confidence steadily rising within her. Looking at the bakery, once riddled with uncertainty, she now found reassurance that she could balance her roots with future aspirations. With Michael's support, a little girl's enthusiasm, and the kindness of her community, she felt ready to embrace not just a dream, but a new beginning. And as they locked the door that evening, Sarah knew they weren't just closing up shop. They were opening the door to something brighter and ever-expanding community, one cupcake at a time. Tonight was sweet and filled with promise. Reflections danced in her mind, fueling every determination she had. In the days to come, her bakery would continue to rise, layer upon layer, enriching lives, sharing stories, and embracing the spirit of togetherness. As she turned off the lights and took one last look around, Sarah's heart swelled with hope. She had not just saved her bakery, she had become the light it brought to her community, and together, they would continue to find joy in every sprinkle and swirl. So here's a thought: if you've enjoyed this journey with Sarah, why not be part of every transformative story to come? Subscribe immediately to our channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm with your love for these uplifting tales. Don't forget to comment your favorite moments and how this story made you feel. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to show your support now, because true fans like you understand the impact of being part of our community. Don't wait not even one more second to share.